Hello, all of you vaingloriously wonderful people, and welcome back to Cities Skylines. I've missed making videos about Cities Skylines. Stream it a whole lot, but don't make videos about it too much. We kind of went on a little break for a while. Did some Timberborn, which Timberborn will be back. And, well, that tractor just cut that man off. Actually, he had the right of way. He had the right. Anyway, I have a small city here of Westwood of about 36,000 people. I didn't want to spend, I've got 5 or 6 hours on this. So that would have been like 3 months of videos. And because I really do try to keep these to half an hour, though, man, it looks like looking at some of the bigger City Skylines content creators, people will tolerate long City Skylines videos. I don't know that my audience will. So yeah, we're kind of looking at a city services area right here. It's right by the highway, not the best look. We will eventually relocate all this. It's just right now this was handy. It was convenient. But if we look down on the city, you can see we have everything broken down into little districts. That was mainly for emergency management so that I could see how many people live in each little area and put down the disaster shelters, which I'm looking for. And there's one. So the emergency shelters to be able to take care of those. We have a good sized farm going. It's making plenty of money, though it keeps importing things. Gonna have to investigate that eventually. And then we also have that's the area of Lakeshore. There we go. Lakeshore Polytechnic Institute, so a trade school. It's up to 5 stars, so it's prestigious. It's making lots of money. And the city is doing well. We even have a really nice park back here that I'm really proud of. I've been doing a lot more detailing than I normally do, just trying to get in the habit of doing it. And you may say, well, there's an awful lot of big open green space there. And that's on purpose because I want there to be a lot of green space. Here kids can play tag. Up here, there's little tables in the trees and sandboxes and things, so you can go get some shade. And over here, nice place to fly a kite. Play a game of touch football. Whatever. And then of course the park amenities, including a nice walking trail through the woods. I'm thinking about making this dirt, but I don't know. And then of course a few piers. So beautiful park. I really like it. I'm really proud of it, how it turned out. And it does really well for us. But that is not the reason we're here today. I've gotten this all built up. And my goal was to get to 35,000 people before I started recording. Did that earlier today. We're ready to go. We're ready to record. And I want to build an airport. Because, that's the reason we're bringing City Skylines back right now. So an airport area. First thing you have to do is create an airport area. I can't build any of this. Nothing. So you go into your districts and areas, come all the way over here, and then you have airport area. You may notice that it also flattens the terrain. It'll also remove trees usually. So this map, my idea, is that there's a up and coming, small, or I guess it's a large town now. Small city, more like a large town. With some really good property. We've got a couple lakes off of rivers. We've got oceanfront property here. We have oceanfront property here. And we have oceanfront property here. So a lot of really good real estate. Our biggest chunk that has easy highway access, because the original highway just came in through here, through town, and back out. And then the train originally came through, we could probably see the scar of it if we look closely. But it originally kind of came up through here and connected, and then this one came in and connected here. And it wasn't a two-way connection. They could only go out. This one had no way of getting over to that track. Relocated that to over here and also moved the train line just a bit to free up a lot of space over here. And my idea is that this is going to be a town that draws upon its natural beauty. You know, it's not often that you have just beautiful beaches and some mountains as well. You know, we could get some really cool nature reserves up in the hills. And there are hills everywhere. If we look at the terrain, there's even smaller hills that kind of surface from time to time. There's a very, very small one there. There is a small one right here. There's a pretty good size one right here, right out by the beach. And then a smaller hill kind of here. And that's, you know, not counting the mountains. So, if we're going to flatten everything, we would want to start, you would think that in reality, if a city was going to invest, you know, they've been saving. They've been doing everything they can. They've got their budget balanced. They're making lots of money, and they've managed to bank about $40 million to build an airport. Reality, is that enough to build a major airport? No, those things are billions of dollars. But they would probably want to avoid moving too much dirt. They would want it slightly away from town because of noise and things like that. Plus for, you know, future expansion around the airport. This would make a good area, except for the fact there's this big hill right here. That would be a good size area, and I just don't think I really want to eliminate that hill. Plus, there is access from the town and from a highway, but we would have to significantly reroute the highway over. Granted, I built this highway, so I'm paying for it anyway. I may as well. I built this highway, put in this exchange, and I built this highway over here as well, which let's just admire the nice clean slope on that real quick. Like, just a nice gentle slope that goes right up the hill. Nothing sharp, nothing jagged, no weird dips or humps or bumps, just a nice smooth line all the way around the corner, and then it switches into a bridge and slowly, okay, that's not what I meant to do. It slowly comes back down. It's a beautiful highway. Same thing over here. It's nice and flat, and all the curves are nice and gentle. But anyway, so building an airport here would be really expensive because of having to move all of that dirt. Granted, it's not, because I use unlimited terrain, unlimited soil mod. It's built into the game. You can just turn it on. So I don't have to worry about that. But if you're playing in vanilla, you would have to pay a lot of money to get rid of that dirt. So over here is another good area, but this is our biggest beachfront, really. I mean, there's probably more over here, but this is probably the easiest to build around because it's relatively straight. So we can bring the city out in my, you know, lovely grid. So I don't know. Ooh, hello. I don't know that I would want to take up a good chunk over here for an airport. There is the argument to be made, though, if I could tuck it in over to this corner, that it would be right near a lot of tourist attractions right here. But the airports utilize mass transit, so we can always move people where we need them to be. So then that leaves us with back here. We have, you know, I've got this planned out to somehow connect the town out this way with one collector, and we could even make this an arterial if we wanted to. But we have this in place, plus I do have a highway connection coming out here. Plus we could still do some resort type things out here. But if we look at the terrain out here, this is pretty flat. Another thing that this has going for it out here is access to the rail, because there is a cargo element to the airports once you get them upgraded. If we built over here, we would have to get the rail across the highway and make, you know, some type of, we basically have to like mirror this and then bring it off this way and then bring a bridge over the highway, which can be done, but right here, we're already right next to the highway, or right next to the rail. I think it's easier to bring a highway in than it is to move railroads. So I think over here is kind of where I want to go with the airport. This isn't as big of a hill as in some other areas, so if this goes away, that's fine. But I think I want to try to get it tucked in Like, I'd really like to get our airport oriented kind of here-ish, like a big rectangle. And most of this is already flat. I don't see any terrain lines there. There's a couple little teeny tiny ones. So I think this is where we're going to go. And, you know, it can be right up here by this lake. That's fine. People out on the lake can watch planes take off. That'd be kind of cool, in my opinion. So we could bring this highway on in. We'd have to either go over this hill or turn here and bring it in right this way. And we'll probably do that and have like a roundabout here and an entrance for it. We may even try to like turn it and come right here and have a roundabout here, and then that would be the entrance to the airport. But first things first, we have to make an airport area. So we're going to come in here, and I'm going to go ahead and go for our biggest circle. You can see soil availability. That's going to stay right there because, again, I have the unlimited soil mod. So I am going to get this started. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can see it is erasing the trees. It usually will. Sometimes they come back, and I'm not really sure why that is. Wow, this airport area is already expensive. We're already up to $20,000 just to do the landscaping. I guess it's the trees that I'm paying for to get rid of. I don't know. But that's kind of crazy. And then we're going to bring it all the way over to the rail line, like right up to it. And you can see now, even where I thought it was relatively flat, you can see it starting to level that area out. We'll have to go through and clean that up a little bit. Anyways, back to what we were doing. I want to get a big area, and then we can always shrink it down if we don't need that much. But we're going to go something like this. I'm thinking cargo and all that can be back this way, main airport up this way. Maybe a runway that comes down here, and maybe another runway, a short runway that kind of goes this direction. I don't know. But let's get this highway built, and this may take a couple tries here. What I'm going to do is give myself a bit of a guideline. I'm going to leave the game running this whole time. I'm going to give myself a guideline with a dirt road. They're cheap. They don't have a whole lot of maintenance costs, so it won't cost me a lot of money to leave it running. And then that's going to give me kind of a guide of where to bring this highway in. So if we look from up here, I want to get it pretty close to one of the snap tubes. If we go off of that one, that could work. That could work fine. So I am going to back this off to here. And then I'm going to come back in and put a road there and a road there. And if I've got these spaced properly... No, I've got them too far apart. Okay. If I get them spaced properly, they will make the perfect placement for highway, which I think, yeah, there we go. Okay. So that gets us to where when we come into here, we won't have any strangeness happening when we bring this down from the highway. So let's get this going. I'm going to go fairly straight out for quite a while here. Like to about, let's get it right on a line. Can't tell if that's exactly on a line or not. So we're going to zoom in a little bit more. 84, let's go one more. We were at 91, 9100. And then we just jump over. We know that that's our separation. And boom. Get that one in. We'll go ahead and turn that end around because we can. And then I should, fingers crossed, we'll make a nice gentle curve here. Granted, my road guidelines aren't going to function because they're too far apart. But I should be able to eyeball this. So that is, if you look up at the top right, 1,120 meters. And that gives us a good connection. Not as good as I'd like. Let's try again. I know that was an expensive test, but I'm willing to spend the money and get it right instead of having to come back in and move it later. So here's one other thing we can do to help us out. We could bring a nice straight road out this way and another one out this way, and then get rid of them. And you're probably thinking, why would you do that? Watch. I'll show you why. Now when I come in, I have a road guideline where that highway is way down there. Whoops, and I forgot to turn. You know, mistakes were made. So now, let's pretend that never happened. I wasn't too far off, about 100 meters. So now, this is going to be there, and that should give us a beautiful corner. Yeah, look at that. Just a nice, gentle turn. So now I should, in theory, be able to do the same thing here. And you're like, well, your highways are overlapping. They won't. Because when I do that, they will go right in and wha-bam. Other than the fact that this is pointed the wrong way, we have ourselves a perfect highway. I've gotten good at building highways in SimCity and getting them nice and parallel. Like, I even had to fix this. This map is from one of the content creator packs, and this curve right here, the outer lane, went like way over here and then back in, and it looked really odd. So I fixed it, and now it's beautiful. Speaking of content creator packs, there are 8 maps that are available in a map pack. One of the things that I really like about this, though, and again, I'm playing with mods, so this will function a little bit differently for me than it does for you. But you can, normally you've got like a model button that you can click here and choose the type of vehicle that's on a line. Well, I have to go in here and use this. You can see Super Bendy Bus. This isn't a mod. So the articulated airport bus, the double-decker bus, the bendy bus, double-decker bus, mini bus, super bendy bus were all added in, and that's just for buses. There are also options for trains: bullet train, commuter train, high-speed train, and airport express train. And yes, the express trains and buses and all that do get to go faster. And then on metros, you've got the Airport Express, the S-Bahn train. I don't know if I'm saying that right. The subway train, high-capacity metro, and an actual underground train. And what's really cool is you can see, like, on this line, and it's not as high a density as it was, which is odd. I think some people are taking the metro now. Yeah, people have kicked over to the metro. So this one needed, all these buses at 125 passengers were full. But on other lines, I'm using, like, there's just a double-decker. And you can, instead of having to spam out just a ton of extra buses, you can now just choose the one that has the capacity you need. Like this line down here that has very few riders, I have the minibus on it because that's sufficient. That is more than enough, that little guy there. And it's kind of cute on top of that. We may eventually have, like, back there, I think, no, it's a livestock truck. Thought that was another bus. I was hoping to see one of the bigger buses, like the Super Bendy bus or something like that. We should, though, as we get closer to the bus terminal, which I think we're coming up on. Yeah, there we go. That's the bus terminal. So we're going to go out of there, and that's one of 2 bus terminals. That's the one by the train station. What's really cool is even, like, the commuter trains, like, that come in, or not commuter trains, but the trains from out of town, even they'll use the different train types. I was afraid of this, that these guys are going to wind up complaining. Let's fix this real quick. I've got some residential a little too close to all this noise. This train station and this bus station make a lot of noise. So what we're going to do is get rid of those two big apartments. Also, I want to do something about this up against the highway. I don't care for that. I don't like it. We may put a high-rise ban on this whole area here. As soon as you realize you're not allowed to be there anymore, that'll be fine. There's a story behind the toy factory, I'm sure of it. Well, we don't have a toy factory in this save, so okay. We're getting a little bit of traffic. We're not going to get distracted. Airports. But that's one of the things you can do. I just want to show you some of these other things real quick, because I think it's worth looking at. So on your clinics and hospitals, you have different ambulance choices. Again, this is from a content creator pack that adds these, but now it's just built in that you can just switch. You don't have to have a mod to swap them out or anything. Your fire stations get the same thing. These are the ones, these two here come with the content creator pack. And your police stations have the same thing, one of which cracks me up, a supercar. Looks like a Lamborghini, and then a mobile command center. And then your cemeteries and other death care facilities also have the ability to change. I just saw one right here. There we go. So there's regular hearse, a coroner's van, or a luxury hearse. And that luxury hearse is massive. It's like a big Rolls-Royce hearse. But anyways, it's nice that you can just swap out the vehicles like that. So before we get started building the airport proper, I want to come in here, bring my brush size up. I want to see my terrain. And I want to bring that strength down a little bit. I just want to kind of, you can see that when we zoned, it kind of created some weirdness around the edge. And you can see like there's almost like a little trough there. Yeah, I don't like that. I want to smooth that out and have a more natural looking area here. And we'll come over here because, yeah, it kind of did the same with the jagged lines. Again, just hit it with the smooth tool real quick. And it should solve the problem. Might require a couple of passes just to smooth it all the way out. Oh, there we go. If we come out of this now, there we go. Jagged line's gone. So, let's figure out what we're going to do with this airport. I'll worry about connecting the highway later. For now, we're just going to get this roundabout in so that I can kind of see where I'm going to go with an entrance. And let's just do the highway. And I want a fairly sizable, I don't know what that is over to the right. Like if you look above that, right where the dirt road meets the concrete. I don't know what that little artifact is from using this tool, but it's a new thing that has been happening. Speaking of new things that have been happening, one other new thing with the DLC is, again, you used to have mods to do this. But you can change the trees, and you can change it to anything. These are content creator pack trees. And I'm not sure that I like the tree I chose. It seems like it's a bit dense. I mean, that's really, really dense. So we probably wind up doing something else. After I got this whole neighborhood done, I'm like, man, I don't know about that. Because it just makes you feel like you're really closed in. Just because of the height of the tree, I think, is the problem. But I'm not a super big fan of that. Okay, airport. So what we want to do is upgrade that right there just so I know what I'm doing. And I think I want to have like a slight bend to where everything orients to this shore right here. Yeah, I like that idea. So we are going to bring this straight out for a moment. Oh, it doesn't want to connect there. So when that happens, just make yourself some crosses. That inserts a node at the exact right spot. And now I can do that. So I want to bring that out to about here. And then I'm going to come here with this and just kind of eyeball it. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect And then we'll just back off a couple of those. And make a nice clean connection. There we go. So I'm thinking this would be not a bad place for our first terminal. I don't know that I need this road to come down quite that far. But can I even place the terminal first? Or do I have to do a runway first? It'll tell me if I click on the airport area, which to do that, I gotta turn all this back on. Fawn City Airport. No, we're gonna rename that. Build an airport terminal, build an aircraft stand, build a runway. So it doesn't really care what order that I do them in. So we have three options. We have the classic style building, which they're fine. Let's turn this off so we can actually look at the buildings a little bit better. And they don't snap to roads. They have their own roads built in. Some do, some don't. But we've got the classic style. We have the modern style. And we have two choices, either a big one or a small one. Excuse me as I yawn. That one's kind of cool in the way that it does its roads. I like that it has the two different level roads. But where's the lower road on that one? Oh, I see it. It's there. We just can't see it yet. And then there is the ultra modern. And I think this is what I want to go with. I think I want ultra modern. So I'm going to bring that. I'm going to line it up here with this road. Because I don't want to have to go back and delete things and move things. I want to avoid that as much as possible. So I am going to drop that right about there. And now you can see that opens up a ton of stuff. That gets us a really cool double-decker and gets us kind of set up to start some cool stuff. And then we can also eventually bring in like another one as well, maybe on this side of the road. We may do like some sort of fancy little turnaround down here and have another one. Because if I build my runway this way, I can bring taxiways in behind here and in behind here without any issue. So we need to get some utilities out here. I use the electric roads mod, so I don't need to bring power out here. But I do need to bring some water. So we will put the water pipes under the road, because if you've watched City Planner Plays, you know that's where they belong. He will get power in just a moment, don't you worry. And then I have this same road in here. I just have to find it. This bus/taxi road, where it's just one lane to the side, and I may have already passed it. But it's a one-way road. No, there it is. Cool. No, wait, that's not it. That's the 3-lane, but it's not the one I want. There's a 4-lane version of it. I thought I had a 3-lane one-way. Ah, I did pass it. So now we just need to connect all of this up. So I'm going to turn my snap twos back on. And I'm going to go out. That's 3 tiles back. Well, really 4. That would be 5 tiles. So if I go here. No, that doesn't look right. That doesn't look right either. It just kind of looks weird. I guess it'll be alright. So we'll connect that one there. That one wanted to connect at the end. Don't worry, we will connect something to the end. And then I want to make sure that that is turned off, because the mod loves to turn that back on constantly, and I don't know why. And then I want to try to get this ramp, yeah, right next to it. And then same thing, hopefully right here. I've got a node there that wants to be problematic, so we'll do that for just a moment. That is not exact. No, exact. So we're going to bring this out, like, right there. Why do I want it exact? Because I do, because I think it'd be cool. So let's bring this down and see that turned that back on. That's closer. I don't like it. I know I'm being unbelievably picky. Let me get this in and then we'll resume. How's that sound? All right, there we go. I'm happier with that. The only thing I'm not happy with is the fact that we have like the impossible ramp there, but that is easy enough to fix. We just need to come in here and use our slope tool after converting that bit to a bridge. 14% grade there, 0%. Now it's 7 and 7, which is a bit steep still, but you know, you're coming up to an airport. I don't want to have a really long approach to this, so I think that's all right. You'd be going, I doubt you'd be going 40 kilometers an hour anyway through there. That would be a much lower speed limit. So that gives us our first terminal. I don't know why I have everything paused. So now I want to get in a runway. But again, I want to try to keep it oriented all the same so I don't get like any weird little curves. So I'm going to bring a road in, again a dirt road off of here, and we're gonna go way over here, and then I'm gonna give myself a little bit of that, and then I want it to actually, I want them to land down here and then come off down here and then shoom, take off that way. Actually they'd probably take off that way. That's why I kind of also want 2 runways, and we'll have to look into doing that. So airport runways are huge. That right there is 10 meters. 200 construction costs. I want this thing to be like 3 kilometers. Just to, I mean, that's what you would have. So if 200 is 10 meters, then so that'd be 10, 20, 30, wait, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Maybe we won't be going 3 kilometers, because that's already pretty big. There is a minimum distance that it has to be. How big was that? Let's go double that. So that's 2,000. Let's go 4,000. That would be 400 meters. Actually, it's 800 meters. My bad. So this is 1.6 kilometers already. And then, and I know that because I'm looking up at the top right. So that would make it, right here would make it a 2 kilometer runway. That's huge. It may have to be our only runway as well, because I don't know where else we'll put another one. Unless we flatten back here and bring one back here for the cargo airport. And that's kind of what I want to have, is a separate one for the cargo airport. So now I want to just make this come out to here and come back in. And to get a nice straight runway, I'm going to use my road guidelines. And I'm going to go right about there. It matters the direction you draw this. If I would have started down here in this end and drew it this way, the planes would land here and then take off in this direction. As it is, they land down here, and then now they'll be coming right towards our terminal, which I think makes an awful lot of sense. I just want to get this straight here. One of these is straight, one of them isn't. That is straight, right? Yeah. So this is right at just over 2 kilometers. It is 0.26 of a meter over. So that should be nice and straight. Yep. Cool. I can get rid of my guideline now. Just keep deleting. So now you're probably thinking, well, that's great, Brandon. You've got a big runway over there, a terminal over there. Now what? Well, now, good friends, we come in here and we're going to extend out our terminal just a bit. I'm going to go ahead and go out. Let's bring it out right there. 1950 each side. This way we can get quite a few plane stands on the back of here. And I'm going to try to get as many as I can back here. So I want to get this thing upgraded as quickly as possible. So it's going to kind of line this up using the shadow of the concrete. It's not really where the concrete ends. This does give these a little bit of overlap, but they're okay with it. There's still a big enough gap between the planes that it'll be fine. So we're just going to drop as many of these in as we can get. And that looks like that's probably all we're going to be able to get. Now, what do you do about water pipes at an airport? Well, you just put them down. Because this is all private land. They can go wherever they want. So now we have an airport stand over here. Or airport stands over here. And a runway over there. We need to connect them. And the first thing I'm going to do is give them a way out. Which is going to be to come down here. And if I did this all right, this should line up. Oh, it doesn't, does it? Oh, man. That means this is off by just a little bit from my road. That is a big disappointment. And you got to come all the way down to here and go in. That really annoys me that this runway is not correct. It is not letting me delete the runway. Hello? I can delete that, but I cannot delete the runway. Why not? Is this a mod conflict? I've been able to delete runways before. It thinks that the airport's functioning, but it's not. Okay. Why can't I delete the runway? Yeah, hold that thought. I'll be right back. So we're back. I had to use Move It to delete the runway. You can see distance too short, so they have to be at least just over 30. So they have to be at least 400 meters. Yeah, it just said distance too short. Or distance too short. It just wouldn't let me delete it. Airport area required. You won't trust me, it's there. It refused to let me delete it. Nothing I did was sufficient, so I just used Move It. Selected all the nodes and deleted it. More than one way to skin the proverbial cat, right? Yeah. So this should only let me connect. Like, yeah, I can't connect from only here. I can only be able to connect it right there. If I try to go there, no. Can't do it. And that will be their taxiway that way. This is actually, this is going to go here. We need to expand our airport area so that it'll quit saying that. So we'll just bump that over ever so slightly. There we go. And then come back in the transportation menu and grab that. Bring this way. Actually, I want to bring this. Should have made runway just a little bit longer. I'll delete this one? No. That's really weird. I've been able to delete runways before. Like, here's how I had to do it a minute ago. I had to just, like, come in here, and eventually it, like, selected the whole thing. There. And then delete it like that. It's really odd. I've built 2 previous airports. Both times I wasn't happy with my runways, and I deleted them without issue. So I don't know if a mod was updated today that is causing a conflict or what's happening. I'm going to bring this up to, so there's that end. I'm going to go to here-ish. Actually, there-ish. Right there. Take off right by the train tracks. That'll be fun. Scare the bejeebus out of the train conductor. So this now wants to connect to there. Yep. Right there. So I'm going to back that off. Bring this way. It's really also peculiar with node placement. Like, you gotta get your nodes just right. So several times we will be deleting taxiways, and there's not a lot I can do about that. So this now wants to come off here. Yeah, and then we can bring this in like this, and then all I'm gonna do is connect like every other gate. And this is where I was saying I can't connect there. Oh, okay, I guess I can, but I can't connect like straight because it says space already occupied, and I want these to be nice and straight. So the way you're going to do that is to just bring them all up using your road guidelines to where we know that this taxiway is going to come in, and then bring that taxiway across, and then of course we want those to go in, not out. So there we go. Planes can come in. Have a little bit of a holding area here. We might need to expand that later, simply because, like, let's say this is small aircraft stand 1, right? And this is what, number 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's say that there's a couple planes for number 1. Well, we'll get one in there. We'll get another one here, but then if there's a third one, it'll just sit here and wait, blocking all the other planes. So I may expand this out a little bit more this way and actually bring this up just so there's a bit more room for them to be able to get in there. Because the reason I made it all going that way is 148 can't go in here. They've got to come all the way down to where they are. So at least, you know, we've got a buffer zone of like one plane for each one. But now we have a fully functional airport. Granted, it has 0 attractiveness, so we are going to have no active flights, though we do have people leaving. You can see we've got planes leaving. These are, I guess, representative of planes from our airport that are destined to go out and pick up passengers from elsewhere. Haven't quite figured all that out yet. But they'll taxi down and then take off. And that gives us the basics of an airport. Granted, this gets really expensive really fast. And we will cover looking at getting it upgraded and turned into a level 3 airport, which is your top level, and adding cargo over the next few videos. And then we'll stay with City Skylines for a while and just kind of play. I'm curious. Yeah, it goes fast still. There is a mod conflict currently that the more taxiways you have, the more it conflicts with a particular mod, and I can forget which one it is. The mod developer is working on that, however, so we should see that resolved very, very soon. But we're going to follow this small passenger plane. There you go. You can hear him speeding up, and he will go all the way to the end of the runway before he takes off. Even if he had enough speed here, he's still going to go all the way to the end. And I'm going to say until next time, I'm Brandon, reminding you to stay vainglorious.